Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group NAMUFANA, stands for NAQIB, Mumtaz, FAIZ and NABIL. So we will be presenting about the topic of freedom of speech. So in our presentation, we will include the introduction about our topic, the importance of free speech in a democracy country, the Malaysian context of freedom of speech, legal and constitutional implications of freedom of speech, consequences of restricting free speech, the proposed solutions and recommendations, and lastly, the conclusion for our topic. So the topic or the question that have been assigned to us is as follows. Democracy guarantees the rights of the people, including freedom of speech and expression. The authority recently has warned the public not to raise about the 3R issues. For instance, a minister has warned that online statements related to these subjects are constantly monitored by the authorities through the Malaysian Communication and Multimedia Commission. So discuss critically the restriction is acceptable in a democracy and what action can be taken and laws can be used against the people who speak on the 3R issues. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. As we all know, Malaysia is a country that was built from a diverse mix of many cultures and religions throughout since Merdeka. Malaysia is a nation that stands as a unique example of unity and environment of diversity, as there are a lot of relationship between race, religion, and royalty being at the center of this melting pot. These three factors, which is also known as the 3Rs, race, religion, and royalty, have played a significant role in formation of our nation's identity and continue to be the subject of continuing discussion. Uh, this, uh, these complicated subjects of 3R are not merely theoretical concepts, but rather they are deeply rooted in the very foundation of our society. Because we know that the 3R was included in the Federal Constitution, and in the formation of the Federal Constitution, many considerations are being observed, which three of them being race, religion, and also royalty. So, understanding the details surrounding the 3R challenges and being able to navigate them effectively is essential for promoting harmony, making progress, and developing a greater appreciation for the values that we all have in common. So moving on into Malaysia's unique diversity. Uh, Malaysia is a very unique country where it really portrays a true embodiment of the phrase unity in diversity. This is because we have all kind of people from various backgrounds, which consists of different races, different religion, different culture, all combined together within a country named Malaysia. The Malay, Chinese, Indian, and the indigenous communities have coexisted and contributed to the rich tapestry that defines our nation's identity. This diversity is not merely a matter of demographics, but it is rather a testament to the resilience and spirit of inclusivity that has allowed our nation to thrive. Uh, the three R issues, namely race, religion, and royalty, are deeply embedded in this diversity, reflecting the intricate interplay of histories, beliefs, and cultural norms that have shaped our collective experiences. Uh, these three R issues are rather than only topics for academic discourse. It is also uh, a, an experience that we live with in every Malaysian, shaping our perspectives, values, and aspirations. By embracing our unique diversity and fostering open and respectful dialogue on these sensitive matters, we can continue to build a society that celebrates our differences while upholding shared principles of harmony, justice, and progress. So now we will be focusing more on the three R's. So what are the three R's? So the first R is actually race. So Malaysia is a multi-ethnic nation comprising Malays, Chinese, Indians, and various indigenous groups, which under Article 153 of the Federal Constitution, it provides for affirmative action policies aimed to uplift and safeguard the Malay and indigenous communities, which is also known as Bumi Putra. Bumi Putra. Uh, However, there are policies that have sparked on debates on fairness, equality, and meritocracy on these matters. Moving on into the second R, which is religion. So Islam is the official religion of the Federation as stated under Article 3, Clause 1, while Article 11 guarantees freedom of religion. Issues like apostasy, conversions, and boundaries between civil and Islamic law have been contentious. Uh, in the case of Lina Joy against Majlis Agama Islam Wilayah Persekutuan, uh, uh, it was affirmed that the Constitution does not grant an absolute right to religious freedom, and a Malay cannot legally renounce from Islam. So, in the case of Lina Joy, it is actually a case regarding a Muslim woman who wanted to change her name to Lina Joy. Her name was Azlina, and she wanted to renounce from Islam. So the court decided that a Muslim cannot renounce from Islam, even though there is freedom of religion under Article 11. So moving on into the last R, which is the royalty or the royal institution. The monarchy is a revered institution in Malaysia, with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong serving as the head of the state and also the head of Islam. The royal families are closely tied to Malay cultural identity, holds a significant influence and power in our country. Uh, in the case of Mio Atikur Rahman, it affirmed that the authority of the Sultan of Selangor to issue directives regarding Islamic matters. So moving on into the freedom of speech and constitutional limitations in Malaysia. Uh, Although Article 10, Clause 1, Paragraph A grants freedom of speech and expressions to Malaysian citizens, there are still limitations outlined in Article 10, Clause 4, and Section and a provision from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights which limit the freedom of speech. Article 10, Clause 2, Paragraph A allows Parliament to impose restrictions on freedom of expression if it deemed necessary to do so for the for the reason of national security, public order, and upholding moral principles. Our government has imposed some restrictions on discussing sensitive 3R issues, which concerns over potential threats to security, public order, and racial and religious tensions. Such as in our question that have been assigned to us, it says that the government has said that our our activities online are being observed by the MCMC. So in conclusion, the three R issues of race, religion, and royalty are deeply intertwined with Malaysia's unique diversity and constitutional framework. While we enjoy freedom of speech and expression, there are limitations to maintain social harmony and the national security of our country. So it is very crucial for us to engage in open and respectful manner on these sensitive topics in order to preserve and protect our democratic principles and constitutional rights.
Okay, so let's move on to the importance of free speech in democracy. we're going to dive deeper towards what are the importance of freedom of speech. Firstly, we're going to talk that the freedom of speech is a fundamental human right. So, as we know, freedom of speech is a basic human right that is very crucial, important, and essential for a healthy democracy. In Malaysia, this right is protected under the Federal Constitution, Article 10, Subsection 1, Clause A, which is allowing every citizen to express their opinions freely. The right is not for individual purposes only, but it's very, very vital for democracy so that people are able to participate in politics, voice their opinions, and even push for a better change. However, freedom has limits because constitution allows parliament to impose restrictions for national security, public order, and morality, such as in under articles section 10 of subsection 2 and Article 10 of subsection 4. Some other examples that gives restrictions towards the freedom of speech is Sedition Act 1948 and Printing Presses and Publications Act 1984. It is aimed at preventing incitement and getting the public peace. So, these laws highlight the delicate balance between protecting free speech and ensuring the stability of a society. The next, we're going to talk about the role of free speech in promoting open dialogue, accountability, and progress. So, as we know that free speech encourages open dialogue, enhances accountability, and fosters progress because it allows people to question the government actions and hold leaders accountable, which is very, very important for the transparency of governance and preventing the abuse of power. Because in Malaysia, free speech has been the key in promoting accountability through various legal challenges and court rulings. For example, the case of Minister of Home Affairs v Persatuan Aliran Kesedaran highlighted that the tension between the government authority and free speech under Printing Presses and Publication Act 1984 that we mentioned earlier. And then there's an addition of the case of Abdul Rahman Salib. Uh, it showed how free speech can support political discourse and addressing corruption allegations, despite it has a very potential defamation risk. Debates and discussions are very vital for developing and implementing new solutions to social problems, and the internet has further been democratized in this process because by allowing individuals to share their views widely and influence public opinions. Therefore, free speech is very, very crucial in today's modern life. However, talking about the free speech earlier, we can see many examples from the history that restricting free speech hindered the democratic processes. It shows that limiting free speech can harm democracy and slow progress of society. If the speech is overly restricted, it creates climate of fear, suppressing dissent, and undermining democratic principles. In Malaysia, Internet Security Act is ISA 1960, which allowed detention without trial, often faced criticism for silencing political opponents and activists, thereby restricting free speech and political freedom. The use of ISA in events like Operasi Lalang in 1987 shows how such measures can suppress democratic dialogue and dissent. Another example is the case of Mark Coding against Mendakwa Raya or public prosecutor, where an MP was charged under Sedition Act 1948 for advocating the closure of vernacular schools. The case highlighted how restrictions on parliamentary speech can affect democratic governance and debate on sensitive issues. The Sedition Act 1948 has been used in prosecute individuals for expressing views deemed inciting against the government, often criticized for stifling legitimate political discourse. Another case, like the Pendakwa Raya against Oi Kisei, show how enforcing sedition laws can target political dissent, hindering the democratic process. In conclusion, the Malaysia's laws recognize the importance of free speech. Balancing national interests with democratic freedoms remains challenging. Historical and contemporary examples show that excessive restrictions on speech can impede democratic engagement and progress. emphasizing the need for laws that protect both freedom of expression and the public order.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Okay, so for my part, I will be talking about overview of the three issue and the sensitivity in Malaysian society. As we know, 3R consists of royal, religion, and race. So what actually happened for the 3R in current situation? So the 3R are highly sensitive matters that lie at the heart of Malaysian citizen. Religion, especially Islam as the official face of federal constitution, holds significant sway with debates and exploitation of religion sentiment often spark tension and controversy on social media platform. The monarchy too, or we could say the ruler, commands respect and reverence with the constitution, acknowledging the distinct position of the Malay ruler in maintaining national stability. So racial harmony is very important of Malaysian multicultural society. However, the because we consist of India, Malay, Chinese, and other races as well. However, the dissemination of hate speech targeting specific racial identity has intensified tension and fostered an atmosphere of target of suspicion and hostility. The Constitution seeks to uphold unity among this racial group while recognizing the unique status of the Malays and the legitimate concerns of other communities. The sensitivity surrounding 3R issues stem from the potential for exploitation by certain group or individual uh, for their own agendas or motivation. The This could lead to what we call it, the separation. This could lead to destruction of harmony in Malaysian society. Authorities have recognized the need to address the concern through of 3R through measures such as law and proposing new legislation to impose civil sanction and those who manipulate 3R for personal gain. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you. So for my next part, I will be talking about the government's justification for restricting discussion on this topic, which is sensitivity issue of 3R. So the Malaysian government believes that banning discussion on sensitive topics including race, religion, and political is necessary to ensure public order and unity in its varied population, which is multiracial. Malaysia is multiracial, multi-religious, and national, making unrestricted free speech could could lead to the source of upheaval. The recent rise in hate speech against the government, racial slurs, and racially charged situation highlight the danger of unrestricted expression. It also invite people like politicians to exploit this tension by employing diverse technique and propagating misleading information in order to consolidate their authority, depending social conflict. We could also we could refer to the case that happened at Loyat Plaza, where the what we call it, the Malay and Chinese got into racial brawl because of misunderstanding. Similarly, debate over the use of word kalimah Allah has caused theological tension between Muslims and Christians. This tragic incident serves as reminder of the potential conflict to escalate, recalling the what we call it. This incident also remind us to the danger of free speech, especially on matter of 3R. To avoid repeating such incident, the Malaysian government emphasized the importance of strict speech regulation. especially when it comes to sensitive ethnic and religious matter. As a result, expression that could potentially offend and encourage violence are limited in order to protect the public. There's a lot of law that governing on Malaysia free speech has been passed, such as Defamation Act 1957, in Printing and Publishing Act 1984, Penal Code, Public Order Maintenance Act 1958, and so on and so far. This law aim to protect this law uh, all this law is the purpose of this law is to upholding social peace and public order and the right to free speech, as, which means that the government try to balance between free speech and try to prevent any sensitive matter can be brought to surface. So just now we talk about why government justification on restricting discussion on this topic. Now we make counter argument for the need for open and respectful dialogue on sensitive issue. So as we know, in Malaysia, where there are many races, faith and nationality represented in society, it is crucial to have cautious and open discussion about delicate subject. In order to preserve peace and unity, the government legitimately impose appropriate limitation and restriction on the right of free speech. How, however, it's important to find a balance that permit polite and productive discussion. This freedom can consist of expression in word, images, and protest. Also, when the discussion is respectful, the government should let it happen. Uh, Acceptance, solidarity, and mutual understanding among Malaysia varied population can be fostered and by an amicable and cautious discourse on this touchy subject. The government may encourage a lively interchange of ideas while reducing the danger of racism, hate speech, and the dissemination of disinformation by creating an atmosphere in which opposing viewpoints can be expressed and debated in civil manner. The function that freedom of speech play in enabling public government communication. This open discussion can aid the government in better understanding the hopes and concerns of various populations in Malaysia, especially minorities who face discrimination or restriction on their freedom of speech. The government can obtain insightful input and useful information to guide policies and programs that support inclusion and tackle the particular difficulties encountered by different groups by actively participating in polite discourse. So, this can be seen that uh, freedom of speech also has its benefits in making help us in make help government to make policies that can help uh, main every race, including minorities. So uh, Malaysia can take advantage of its diverse population to foster unity and mutual understanding among its disparate communities by encouraging cautious and transparent discourse on touchy subject. In addition to preserving the fundamental right to free speech, this strategy helps the country advance, stabilize, and grow by making sure that all opinions are heard and appreciated while still upholding harmony and public order. That's all from my part. Thank you.
So moving on into the consequences of restricting free speech. So Malaysia is one of the countries in the world that have a democratic kind of government, which means that the government body was elected by the citizens who vote for them in the elections. So their decision in administrating the country is actually a mirror wet the decisions and view of the people as the representative in the parliament, which is the government, is actually representatives from the people who are chosen in elections by the citizens themselves. So it is important for the government uh, to impose laws in favor of the citizen. And next, by restricting free speech, it can actually erode or lower the trust and weaken the democracy. As stated before, uh, in a democratic country, people have their right to to say their view and perspectives. So by restricting free speech, it actually contravene the idea of a democratic country. And also, our constitution, which is our supreme law, upholds the democratic structure. So whenever we go against the element or the content of the federal constitution itself, it will for sure create chaos, because our federal constitution was built uh, from from observing the state the the situation and the condition of our country. So it was perfectly built for our country. So whenever there is no constitution, there will be chaos and the country will collapse. And and by and also, if we respect the constitution, it will for sure maintains harmony and stability.
Moving on to the legal and constitutional implication. Article 10, Clause 1A provides that every Malaysian citizen has freedom of speech and expression. Malaysian citizens have the freedom to express their opinion and thoughts as long as they do not touch on sensitive issues that have been identified in Parliament in Item 10, Clause 4. Freedom of speech in Malaysia is not absolutely guaranteed and is limited to citizens only, where Parliament can impose restriction on freedom of expression through legislation if it finds that such restrictions are necessary in the interest of the security of the Federation, good relation with others country, public order or moral principle. In the case of Minister of Home Affairs and Persatuan Aliran Kesedara, the respondent applied for permit under Section 6, Subsection 1 of the Printing Presses and Publication Act 1984 to print and publish in Bahasa Malaysia a magazine called Seruan Aliran. The application was rejected by the Minister of Home Affairs, where the court has ruled that Section 12, Subsection 2 of the Printing and Publishing Act 1984 give the Minister of Home Affairs absolute discretion to reject an application for a license or permit. In addition, the restrictions are also intended to protect the privileges of Parliament or State Legislative Assembly, or to make provision against contempt of court, as provided in Article 10, Clause 2A of the Federal Constitution. And the freedom of expression or speech guaranteed in the Federal Constitution is often questioned. Authorities such as members of Parliament or members of the state legislature always say that their rights to freedom of expression is controlled and restrictions on those rights are illegal and unconstitutional. Moving on to the recommendation. In a diverse society such as Malaysia, it is important to use a developed strategy when dealing with sensitive topics like race, religion and royalty in order to preserve social unity while still upholding freedom of speech. So one of the recommendations is the media has a crucial role in shaping public disclosure and influence on opinions. Hence, it is important to provide citizens with media literacy skills in order to cultivate a society that is better informed and capable of making sound judgment. Malaysia may foster a media environment that maintains journalistic integrity and encourage responsible reporting on sensitive subjects by allocating resources to public awareness campaigns and open awareness campaigns. Another suggestion is an open and polite exchange of ideas is the foundation of robust democracy. Establishing secure environments for open conversation, instructing mediators and facilitators, and advocating for interfaith and intercultural dialogue can effectively dismantle obstacles and construct connection of comprehension and cultivate a climate of tolerance and acceptance. Furthermore, in the era of digitalization, technology provides prospect for connection and involvement. Malaysia may utilize technology to elevate disadvantaged perspective, bridge gaps, and create a more inclusive and informed society by implementing effective moderating tools. To conclude, to effectively promote freedom of speech on 3R problems in Malaysia, a comprehensive strategy is needed. This strategy should include promoting media literacy, encouraging respectful dialogue, and promoting responsible use of technology. So by adopting this proposed answer and recommendation, Malaysia has the potential to establish a society that is more transparent, all-encompassing and democratic.
Okay, so to conclude, I would like to summarize what my friends have been mentioning earlier. So, as we know, to summarize the importance of free speech in democracy, this is a cornerstone of our democracy. It enables citizens to voice their opinions. It is also enshrined in the Malaysia's federal constitution. It's essential for individual freedom and societal health. But there's also need a balanced approach between the free speech with public order and social harmony. We have to ensure the restrictions of speech are reasonable, fair, and necessary, and to prevent the incitements and maintain peace in society, and also protect the democratic freedoms while safeguarding societal cohesion. We as citizens, we have a role to engage in respectful and open dialogue. Also, we have to advocate for just laws, participate in political process, also exercise free speech responsibly, foster understanding, tolerance, and mutual respect, and contribute to unity and democratic health. And my final thought is, I think that the protection of free speech is very important and crucial for democracy, but we also need to balance it between the free speech and maintaining the public order and ensure that the harmony of our society is at peace. But we as citizens, we have to be actively participate to ensure that we contribute constructively with our voice towards the democracy. And inshallah, it will help Malaysia flourish as a united, democratic, and progressive nation. With this from us, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.